Now let's go fire it up one more time and we'll rev it. We'll see if that clutch is even doing anything. See if it's still a, the two halves go together. You know what I mean? See if they're squeezing. I'm gonna get power back on the pack. Doing what it's supposed to anyway. At least it's still, whatever blew apart, made those holes, it's still functioning as far as the clutch is concerned. Hey guys, and how's it going? Hey, we're going to continue on this Bobcat side-by-side. It's kind of more of like a utility machine. It's set up, it has a plow blade for the front, forks, a bucket that can go on it. It's a 3-cylinder Kubota diesel and it needs a bunch of love. We got the first video of rescuing it, kind of going through it, seeing what all its issues are, or most of its issues, hopefully. And we finally, on the end of the video, got it to fire up and got the engine to run. And I wanted to leave on a good note, so I did. And we're gonna go pick up where that left off, which was the clutch being a total pile. Let's go take a peek at it and we'll see what's going on, and we'll start continuing on, carrying the torch on this thing to try to bring it back to life. All right, so in the first video, we went through the whole machine. It had starter issues and cranking. It wouldn't crank over. Was the engine stuck? And we started looking into the transmission part of it, which is this in here. And there's, you know, belts that go across and housings and everything that are all removed. And when we took the plastic cover off, that bolt, that one, was hanging out like that. Pull it out the rest of the way, the bolt is snapped off. And then we started looking at it, and it has like bullet holes, one there and 180 degrees away. I can show you. The exact same thing on the other side. So I don't know what blew apart that caused those two. And then of course when you start it up, she's rattling big time away, like something's ready to go fall apart on it. So I don't know what's the best way to try to approach this. Usually you put a puller on the inside of this and it pushes off the stud that's in the middle, but that stud that's in the middle is broken off. Possibly we can go and get the flywheel unbolted from the clutch and maybe take it over to a bench. I think that bolt would thread right into this though. It's threaded into the flywheel, not that hub that's there. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe we'll kind of sneak up on it. Let's see if we can get the 4 bolts out of this cover right here and see if we can get a little bit better idea of what's happening. Possibly like that. This bolt in the center has been broken forever. That's probably been like that for, you know, years. I am still worried about it coming apart. If it ever did come apart, it'd fling that clutch all over the place. But we'll see. Let's get those 4 bolts out of it and see what's happening on the inside of that. Well, I do know there's a big ass spring in there. I don't know if the cover holds it. I don't think it does. I guess we're gonna find out. But you're gonna find out. You're the one that's eyeball with it. Hoping we find a set of like flyweights that fell apart or something. Let's go give that a couple of love taps with a hammer. See if everything's preloaded. It seems like it's free. Come out of there. Gotta watch this thing. It's got like razor blade sharp edges on it. Does it have a keeper or something holding it? Yeah. Probably get a rubber mallet. Let's see what happened to it. Nothing really fell out that caused those the two big dents. So what is rubbing there and there? Is it just allowed to travel too far? Sometimes they have like rubber little dampeners on each side. Get a better look at it. I don't know if we can get what's holding this to this, if anything. It also might be part of right through the center of it. It might be all one piece. So we'll give her a couple of love taps, just see if it'll move. Now that and that's fixed. Yeah, I think the whole thing. Cool. I wonder if we can get a. Now that we got this off, I wonder if we can get a puller on it. I have a feeling we're going to crack this if we do, though. We can get around the whole thing and try getting a puller on it. I'm gonna go look, see what we got. I also want to see what's happening with that. Why do we have so much the ability for it to clack? And what was hidden in the cover? That my guess is the weights must have been able to travel so far out that they hit. Like what is that? So it was like, it was like that. So it's whatever's here, hit it. Whoever was there and there, which looks like they're missing. Was it like set screws? So it's what was ever in that hole came out of it and blew through the cover and took off, and it's no longer with us on both sides. Huh. Got me. Let's so some kind of locator pin that kept it from clacking was in the center there. That's why it's able to do what it's doing. Because there's a dampener in there, but there's no pin holding it. Yeah, so whatever was inside there has left the building. I wonder if we can, and that'll stop the clacking part of it. Because the clutch still seems like it works like it should. Just noisy as hell. So here's the crap that we took out of the plastic cover. And there's a pin in there. That would have been one of them. I don't know if the other one is still there too. At least you know what we're looking for, right? Looks like that. But you would think that it would have been held in with some kind of set screw or something. Yeah. I'll dig through that a little bit more. But so let me go clean this up on a wire wheel and see what that looks like. So it's just a pin. No threads or anything on it. I guess I could hammer that thing up in there, but again, like what? I don't want to run it up too far. The only thing I see is that, like, it doesn't look like a set screw or anything though. Let me try to find something a little bit smaller than this. See if there's any guts still left to the to those rubber bushings in there, or if it's all wasted. If it's all wasted, we'll move forward. We're trying to get this taken apart. It looks like, now I'm looking at it, it looks like this pin was drawn all the way up to the center, and then another pin went across it because there's the hole off the back, out the back side of it. There's something sticking out. Yeah, so it had like a little pin, like a, I don't know, maybe it was a cotter key or something that went through it. And they left the neighborhood, and then the pin was able to walk out. Yeah, we go see if I can find something a little bit smaller diameter before we commit to hammering this in there and not being able to get it out. Plus you need to find another one anyway. I didn't see where the other one went. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the main pin went in there, and then there's a through hole going right there. You can see the rest of the, whatever that is, kind of pin still left over. That broke across here and allowed the main pin to fall out. And I'm hoping once we put the main pin back in here, that goes away. So I got a bolt in the top. I got one there, and that will get rid of that play. We get rid of the, you know, the issue with having none of those locating pins in there. I'm gonna go see if I can get like a little punch or a nail or something and punch these holes clear. And I don't know. I don't know if we want to rely on that again. I guess if we get like a heavy enough pin that doesn't do what it did, right? I don't know. What do you want to do? Anything's better than what it is right now. So let's kind of continue with seeing what we can fix. I'm gonna go see if I can find some kind of little thin punch that's long enough to make it and push the pieces out the other side. That's about all I got for length. We should get a little pair of needle nose vice grips on it or wire cutters and draw the rest of it in. It's still about that much still in the metal. So it looks like it was a roll pin. It shattered itself. I wonder if we can go with, well, the roll pin holds tension. So we can go with a solid pin going across. Yeah, there's what the other one's like. It feels like it's clear all the way. Yeah. I'm gonna go spend a little time to try to come up with stuff. We definitely have to come up with another slug at least to go for the other side and then clean this one up. I might even have a kit that has this kind of stuff in it. So this is definitely going to be a little hard to see if we can get the light. Not in your eyes, but enough to go. There you go. So right down in the very center of that is the broken stud of the bolt that let go. It may be tight. It may be just actually just sitting in there. Normally, if you look about an inch, and you can see where those threads are, those large threads. You would thread a tool into that, and then it would have a stem in the center of it that would push all the way down, like, you know, 6 inches into the center of that, and allow you to pop this outer section off and take the whole clutch off of there. I don't even know if we need to do that, but again, we have that broken piece way down right in there. That's the end of the bolt. I'm gonna go possibly see if we can get maybe something on that, like a socket or something. Maybe we could tap it on there. And if it's loose, might be able to just spin it right out of there. We're gonna try anyway. We're gonna go with, ooh, the other one's pretty close, huh? One of those, maybe, they're probably the same size socket. Let's try that one. Ram it down in there. The only thing I'm afraid of, if it doesn't turn, we can get it stuck in there. What size is that? 9mm. Let's go for broke, because if it doesn't come out, it's gonna spin off of it, right? It'll just loosen up. And we get the extension long enough, and then we'll tap that in there and put a 1/4-inch ratchet in and see if it'll get on there and just kind of turn that thing out of there. I feel like it's falling over it. Right there. Might have went. If not, we'll go one size socket larger. Drag on it, but that might be okay, because it could be just floating around in there. It's not really. I don't think so. Let me go one size socket larger. I got a different style on here. Okay, get a guys are bouncing around. I gotta get a bar or something to hold the engine from turning. I think we ripped off of it, unfortunately. I think we had it. This is what I was using. It's much tighter than I expected. Stop it. Alright, let's go get a bigger hammer. Really try to run that home. That'll be the last shot at it. We're probably just gonna maul off all its and now it's just, it's like I cut, yeah, it's popping over it. It's like I cut corners on it with when I hammered it in, but then I just rounded them off. So much for that. Yeah, I bet you what the problem is. I bet you it's Loctited in on there because of the other bolts that we took out, even like, you know, to our right over here. You can see those were even Loctited. So I could see that main bolt being that way because I don't think it had a lock washer on the end of it. No, it doesn't. So that's why it won't come out. We can't really get heat on it neither. I really don't want to pull on the aluminum with a puller. And I'm just afraid I'm just going to crack it. You know, and then, like, what's the point? You know, you have to push off this and pull off of this surface. And if we screw it up, it's done. Whereas if you come off the steel here and you're threaded in, you support it on the steel, and then you run a bolt down the center of it, it pushes on the center and gets it to pop. I'm gonna look and see if I have anything that will thread into this. I know like motorcycle clutches and have that set up for getting the magneto off, but the throat isn't this deep. You don't have to go an inch before you start touching threads on it. So yeah, here's one for a motorcycle, like I said, for the magneto. It's kind of the same idea, but this one needs one that's just larger. So the idea is this would thread in and attach to those threads that you can see about an inch in, and then you would run a much longer one. Longer bolt would run all the way in and push off of the inner and get the whole thing to, you know, to pop free. We don't have one. Well, guys, I did phone a friend on some tooling to remove that front primary. See if it can, you know, we can possibly get it off there. And this is kind of like what they would look like. Sometimes they're fixed dimension. You can thread it in, it pops off. Other times you thread this piece in and then there's a piece that threads through the center of it. But he had these two. He said, you know, give it a shot. And he said, don't feel bad about cutting or modifying them up. You shouldn't have said that. Let's go see if either one of these will work. Well, that one's a no right off the bat. I don't know. That lightning's got you, huh? I don't know if that's going to thread. I don't know if that can thread on there or not. Let's because I know it's a little chewed up on the end. Maybe let's go run a thread file over that, try to clean that up a little bit. It might be just all that's stopping us. Then we'll grease it up and we'll try putting a wrench on it, see what happens. And for those who don't know what a thread file is, this is a thread file. It has pretty much every, I won't call it pitch, but every thread per inch. And you can kind of take your time and try to figure out which one it's going to drop into. And then from there, you can kind of clean up your threads. So let me go figure out if we got a match. See if the camera wants to focus. So it looks like that's the worst of it right there. It's got like a ding in it. Where's our number? There. Some people say, well, if you have a die set, you can kind of run over it with a die. Yeah, but that one tool fits all. Plus, I probably don't have one this size. Pretty good. Let me go, I'll clean it on a wire wheel and put it back in, see if she goes. Don't leave home without it. That might be a little overkill. Well, it depends. Never mind. I know how to get myself in trouble. Don't forget the tip. So all the work is done, isn't it? Alright, kicks you guys over to the other side. Give us a little bit of room. Let's see how this works for us. And it could be the wrong thread. I don't know yet. Get a ratchet on it. I don't know. Just feels so right. How can it be wrong? I don't know how far we're going to go in. Stop it. And we get that little nub in there. That is the last part of the bolt. That's what we're going to hit against. And hopefully be able to push off of that. I say we got to get something to stop the clutch from turning. Yeah, let me go get some kind of maybe those vice grips or something again. We'll clamp on it. Against the frame. I could probably use the impact gun too. This may go flying if it comes off. I'm scared. Well, I definitely say this clutch was not going to pop off on its own. I am going to go get some stuff to put on the floor in case it does launch off there and I'm not able to catch it. Because I'll be holding on to the ratchet, not that. Right, I'm going to go with an impact gun. I got a rubber mat on the floor, but this way I can kind of get a hand on it too. There's that. Let's go a little bit bigger. And if that doesn't go, I think we're going to leave it alone. Let's go with an air-powered one. You know what? Sometimes it pays to know when to say when. Now I'm saying when. I gotta eyeball it in there real quick, make sure I wasn't pushing on something that wasn't the same as this, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't a step. But I think that, again, we had that stud sticking out about 3/8 of an inch. That is what I should have been pushing against. Well, considering the fact that this is not going to come apart, with all that force on there, I don't think it's ever going to come apart. And if it does, we'll deal with it at that point. So I think we're going to go move forward and fix the issue of the clacking that was happening with this. We'll rebuild the parts that are in here and see if we can start getting stuff back together so that we could possibly fire it up. I want to try to get it to the point where I can drive it outside and do a good steam cleaning on it while the weather is still good. So let's move forward with that. Let's go bring one around. So I got new pins. Try to tie everything together. And then we have these, hopefully they're the right size, that we could tap into place. That's gonna fall out when I do that, isn't it? Let's go try it like that. Not gonna go. I'd say that's a yes. Stick it out a little bit. The wiggle's a lot less. Let's go do the same for the other side. find out right now. Well, I definitely say it's better. We're not getting metal on these. It's still a little on the clanky side, but you know, maybe when there's a belt hanging in between here. All right, so we need to continue putting this stuff together, which is going to be what, the big shroud that goes over? I think we're going to modify that before we put it back on now. I'll show you what I mean. So in their infinite wisdom, when they put this together, this was the spacer and this is the pan that houses the clutch. But to take the starter off, you have to take it all apart. So my thought is, so next time we don't have to do all that with the 2 nuts set on the starter. Let's go drill 2 holes right here. So next time, all we have to do is take the plastic cover off and they'll be right there. We can get the starter unbolted by just reaching right into here before we put it together. Let's go punch some holes in that. Same diameter as those. Perfect. And that one. Alright, get all that bolted up. So that cover where those weights flew out, with those holes punched in it, I don't think we have to weld them up. I think we just gotta kind of beat them flat. We'll see when we're done. I think we can probably just leave them alone. We'll give it a nice easy exit hole next time it happens. Hopefully that does not happen. All right, we just go throw this back on. Yeah, don't think we're gonna be needing that anymore. My guess is if it falls off, at least it's kind of contained. I don't think it's keyed, so essentially the machine's just gonna stop moving, and it's outside the passenger's compartment, so it's not gonna hop up and hit you in the ass. The rest of it looks pretty good. I wish I had a new belt to go put on it, but I think maybe what we'll do is we'll run it. We'll see how everything works up inside here, make sure we're good to go. And we have access to the 2 sides of the 2 nuts on the starter next time. So all we gotta do is remove the plastic cover if you want to change the starter. Not all this stuff. All right, go let her down, go clean up the bench a little bit, and hook power back up to it. Let it fire up and see if it'll kind of shift through the gears and clean all that white crap off of there. I was gonna Scotch Brite it, but I forgot. So the process of letting it down, I noticed a little low on headlight fluid. We'll take care of that when we bring it outside and wash it. We'll fill them back up. Hey, not exactly the best view in there. Hopefully it doesn't eat that flashlight. Let's go see if those pulleys do what they're supposed to be doing and not terribly noisy. So we're going to glow plug it first. I think we're on. Let's see if she cranks. Still a little rattly, huh? Half of that is just the the clacking of the diesel, but it still is a little on the rattly side, huh? Yeah. for now, I think we're going to live with what it is. I want to see if we can get this thing, see if it shifts. Plus, I don't know if we have any brakes or not. I'm going to go clear a path, and then we'll bump it in reverse and see if it'll move under its own power. Like I said, I want to take some time, and while everything's out of it, we can kind of like pressure wash, you know, steam clean rather, all this stuff. We'll put a cap on that air cleaner, keep the crap out of it. I might as well just do pretty much everything: the dash, the floor, the rust, and give it a good once four. This will probably be the last time it gets done. All right, let's go see what we get. I don't know, actually, let's go see if that shifter moves. I want to say we had a... Okay. Good. Kind of moves. Well, I don't know what it has for brakes. I don't plan on trying to use them. Worst case, I got a forklift out there we can smash into to stop us. Yeah. It is. Let's see how it does on that black mold first. Good. Well, definitely looks cleaner. Smells better too. Anything smells better than what it was. So she's definitely got a good soaking, but it needed it. Whether that radio will still work, we'll see. Same with the speakers up top. All right, let's go get rid of the boot on the intake. See if we can get that out of there. I have to cut it and see if it'll fire up for us against a diesel, so it doesn't have like electrical wires that are going to get shorted out or anything. Plug wires. But see if it'll fire it up, drive it back in. I think I'm going to let it drip dry overnight. I kind of want to move on to the charging system, but I'm a little concerned about the starter that we put in there is a totally different profile. I just kind of wonder if it might be an issue using that one when we go to try to mount the missing alternator. So my thought is, what if we try and get the original starter apart? Let's just go take a quick peek at the starter and see if there's anything salvageable in it. If not, we'll just kind of figure out why it failed and what it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. And we can get a wrench on that to kind of work it back and forth. Whoops. The whole post is turning on us. That was just a divider between the two of them. But I think we're going to break the porcelain if we try doing that. Let's go try for the upper screws. See if we can leave that intact. That's just a big heavy wire going to the brushes. Back you up a little. There you go. Might need a hammer. So this should be the brushes. Get the whole guts right out of it. We're going to hang up on that wire though, that's the problem. Let me work on trying to get this cap off. Take a peek underneath it with a light. I'm sure it's the brushes. I got to kind of poke the brushes in. They're probably hanging up on the armature. Yeah, there's wiring from the upper cap that is holding it all together. The brushes are already off the contacts. So let's go see if possibly we could separate it here and take the solenoid with it. There it goes. Now all the guts are dropping out. Yeah, what a mess. Okay, let's see. Okay, got a gear reduction in there. Let me, can we get this apart? There we go. No, it's off. Let's go set some stuff down. So this is the actual electric motor part of it. And can we get the... See some kind of like hammering damage going on right there. I don't know if that's grease or if that's like about a bunch of beat upness, like something was bouncing around inside. Let's go wipe it with a rag. Yeah, I have a feeling that's just grease. Yeah, nothing was hitting there. I'm going to go poke around a little bit, see if we can see anything that was causing it to bog down as much as it was. I don't see anything with the bearings yet. They looked pretty good, but it could be in the drive unit too, you know. The motor could be working fine, just not the transmission, so to speak. As I take a better look at everything, we're looking pretty good on that. I don't see any issue with the gears. I don't see any issue with the bushings. Everything looks like it's well greased. The throw out seems like it's free. That part works like seems like it's working fine. Then I'm looking at the actual electric motor of it. Even that doesn't look bad. Nothing is jumping out right away saying, hey, here's your problem. Brushes look good. The bushing on the bottom looks like it's not oval, like it was dragging on one side. I don't know if there was a little bit of crud on the sides, possibly causing it to slow down. You would think you would see some more like scoring marks on it. The commutator looks good. I don't see anything on that. I don't see any like delamination or heavy corrosion or might be just cooked, you know, maybe just gotten too hot over the time to try and spin it, and the windings are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They don't look terribly baked though, you know, a little on the dark side, but not sure. All right, well, it's not like we need this one to work. I do have one that is in there. I just want to hopefully take a peek. If it was something simple, like it was a bushing that was bad or something was dry on one of the drives that was causing it to be slow, I would have addressed it and fixed it. I'm not seeing anything. So we'll move ahead with the starter that's in it and leave this well enough alone. That's a couple days later. I definitely say that looks much better than what we started. The ship box that we dragged home. Now you can kind of see a little bit more what we're dealing with. Now the crud is gone. The back glass is, it's not glass, it's plastic. Has some staining on it. It may come out with some of that plastic polish, but everything else looks pretty good. It seems like anything with those black paint that seems to have failed on that roll bar or cage that's on it. But I don't see damage, I don't see cracks in anything on the dash. Engine bay looks pretty good. Like I said, it seems like wherever the black paint was on it is all kind of given up, so to speak. And it smells much better. Imagine that. It doesn't smell like shit no more. I'll give you one more walk around and we'll get back into wrenching on it. That tailgate's pretty crunchy, huh? Needs some love. That had a tailgate spreader on it. My guess is maybe they tried opening the bed with the tailgate spreader attached. It goes in on the trailer hitch. Maybe caused that. Yeah, this looks pretty good. All the crap cleaned off the pulleys from running it. Alright. I wonder if we can get maybe at least one of the doors off of it. They may just slide out like a Jeep. We get the hydraulic cylinders on it, but it looks like they're just possibly kind of pinned. Like maybe we could lift up on them and take them out of our way. Might make for a little bit easier wrenching on them. Let's go give that a shot. I would think that little dampener should just pop right off of there. Oh, there we go. Think it'll work? Yeah, there it goes. A little bit of oil probably wouldn't hurt. Glass explodes out of it. Let's shoot some oil on it. There it goes. Pretty heavy, about 40 or 50 pounds a piece. Oop, I hear glass sliding. Crash. Much better. Of course, the other side came off with no struggle at all. 5 seconds and it was out of the way. I think the pins are a little bit bent on this one, causing a little bit of racking. Alright, so we are going to move on to possibly getting the charging system back on here, see if we can get it functioning and fire it up. That way we could spin the water pump, and I don't even know if there's any coolant in this thing, but maybe put some water in it and kind of like let it run and see what we're dealing with in those issues. So without further ado, let's go shopping with, there's a pallet of stuff that came with this. I don't think I've shown yet. Let's go dig through that. I know it's got a new alternator or a used alternator, and we've got to try and find all the brackets and everything for it. And that would be this pile of goodies over here. It has rims. He was going to go with a heavier tire that's on it, so it's got 4 rims for it. We just got to find, you know, meatier tires, but somewhere in here. Probably just poke and hope anyway. See what we got. Find out. Is that the bolt for the the bolt for the clutch? Like a bunch of pins for the plow blades and stuff. That's the sander underneath the whole thing. One of these boxes has. Yeah, let's go grab this one. And my guess, maybe that's an old one. The old one. Yeah, brackets. Feels like a belt, a new belt. A couple of stud finders. Is that what they are? Yeah. Alright, let's look through our goodies. And I'm betting, yeah. Actually, it just locked up. Oh, nope, it turns. So my guess is this is the one that was in it. It does turn though. Does look a little on the cooked side of things. And I believe this is probably the one which is much quieter to go in there. This one's got a wire cut off of it. Looks like we have new belts. Nice enough to be tagged for us. And again, we found the bracket for it. And who knows for hardware. So let's go see if we can find, there has to be a plug in there somewhere with the 2-wire, and then the large one is just going to probably go tap in with the battery setup on it. You know, one of the 3 wires that we bolted together goes there, but we still have to go find that plug. Let's go look and see what we can find. Let's go poke around the engine bay, see what we can go see inside here. This is the 3 wires that I bolted together. Whether they all went to the battery or not, I don't know. That side goes to ground. That might be the 2-pin, and maybe we only need one of them. One of them might be the, I would think it's internally regulated. And then we just need a hot lead going out. What's this wire down here? Let's go see if that has a cutoff end on it. Yeah, does it? I think so. Yeah, that looks pretty cruddy. So my guess is that is what gets connected to the back of the alternator. I'm going to look a little better. See it going into the harness. Kind of lines up to about where it would be though, right? I don't know if there's any difference between that and those. I'm going to buzz it out, see if it's a keyed. What's this up here? I don't see, I only see one side of the wire going to something. Yeah. What is that? High amp. Says something on it. I'll go and waterproof. Maybe a terminal came off of that to the alternator. Again, I don't have. I have a book on this. It actually came with a assembly manual. Let me do a little bit of homework. See what we can come up with. So I dug in that cardboard box, which the alternator was in, the good used one, and in there, labeled, was a piece of wire. Looks like the burned up wire that was cut off the original alternator on that side and then crimped on the other, where they taped it over, and they're calling it a fusible link. So he's got in there, and then in there was also new wire saying fusible link, and that went up to a 150 amp. That little block that was on the wall was a 150 amp. It looks like probably like a resettable fuse if something kind of goes awry, and then there's nothing coming off of that fuse. I'll show you. So here's what I'm trying to figure out. We have the burnt off kind of edge that was taped up down here where this went hot to something, I'm not sure. We have this, which is calling a high amp bus 150 amp, which my guess is going to be a fuse going across here from this terminal to this terminal. That does not cross on the other side. It's screwed down here and here. And my guess is maybe that fusible link came off the alternator, went to this post in turn tapped in onto the battery with, you know, these 3 other guys that were there, and that would energize the charging system, and then the little plug that we looked at in that one would just plug in the other one. Of course, you know, things are in different locations on that alternator. I'm gonna go hook it up that way and we'll see. Yeah, I'll bring you back if I find anything else that's kind of funky, but I got to chase hardware and figure out where brackets go and whatnot to get the alternator on there. But that's how I'm going to try wiring it and see if we can keep the smoke in it. I'm still not sure about this. Did that just go to the starter at one time? And maybe somebody ran a new wire? Because there's a whole bunch of wires that are on that post on the starter. There's like 6 of them stacked there. So I pretty much had the alternator in, and I found that it had guards that go on it. Had the belt on it, wired everything to it. I went to go put the guard on this new one. Goes from that bolt hole, and you see we got that. Then you go on the other one. You see that it's within bending distance to get that in there. The width on this alternator is a little skinnier than it is on that. I don't know if this can give us a problem or not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt the shroud on it, but I'm just going to go with one side of it, one or the other, and we'll let the other end of it float. That's to protect the radiator hose that's pretty close to it, and plus probably your hands or something too if you're trying to jump start it, that you're not that close to it. So I'll see what I can do to get that fabricated on there. And again, I want to try to get to the point and see if it's putting any power out and doing what it's supposed to be doing before, you know, we go crazy with everything. But it's definitely not apples to apples on this one. Well, I spent a little bit of time hooking a battery up and wires, and the alternator's all kind of buttoned up. I ended up taking that bracket and just not using the hole for the pivot, and just getting another location and bolting that together, and made that refusible wire to here. It does, I put a test light on it, or a meter rather, and I do have, it does conduct from through here and to the battery. We should be good enough to crank it with that. That's one of the, it's got 425 or 340 cold cranking amps. Should be enough to spin that motor over. Let's go give it a, well, yeah, don't need to start it, but let's see if it, oh yeah, there we go. We got plenty of cranking juice going to it. Let's go get a meter, put it on it. We'll see what the battery voltage is and see if it fires up and what the voltage goes up to. If it pops up, you know, if it's at 12.7 and it goes up to like 13.7, we'll be good. See if our charging system is working. All right, so the battery has 12.58. Let's go give her a preheat. Should drop down when I do that. Yeah. You see? Then we'll see if it fires up and see if we get higher than that 12.58. Might have to rev it a little bit, but let's go see. Preheat it another second or two. Okay, so we are at 12.32. Yeah, all right, we got charging. Good. What do you want to do next? I gotta make a battery hold down and that kind of stuff for it yet, but I think it should stay out of harm's way. There's also a panel that goes in the front here that has a selector switch. This disconnects the hot, kills everything, so there's no power going to anything when you're not using the machine. That has to get mounted yet, but I want to leave that open for now because it gives us access to a bunch of stuff. Let's go check and see if there's anything in the cooling system. Maybe we can, yeah, let's go see if there's what's in the cooling system. I like to try to, maybe we'll shove it outside, let it run for a while now that the water pump can spin, and we'll let everything kind of come up to temperature and see if we have any failures happening with, you know, piston fluid out and all that kind of stuff. All right, let's go, let's go, what we got? Wrenching on the fly. I don't see anything in it. Let's go throw water in it for now. I wouldn't mind flushing the system anyway. Got a little bit of crust in there. It may pass right out as soon as we go to fill it up. Let's go find out. This is about a gallon in here right now. Let's see how far that gets us. I don't know what the whole system holds. I wouldn't think too much. Gallon and a half maybe. See if it starts pissing out anywhere. My fear is that I had water in it before, and if something froze and cracked, and we're going to find out very shortly. Especially we looked at, was it on the first video? The condition of those steel hoses underneath, all rusty. It's definitely thirsty. I don't hear anything leaking yet. That's a lot. I hear pissing. Oh, there's something to deal with. Let's go lift it up and take a peek. We're going in. Well, damned if I could tell, huh? I want to say it's one of those, probably those steel hoses up there. Yeah. Right? Yeah, it's got. Kind of afraid of that. Get it on the camera. It looks like it's right. Oh, it's rotted in half. Well, there's your problem. Alright, let's go undo this bundle right here. Let that finish pissing out, and we gotta do some, this is probably just from where it was sitting on the ground, you know? We got to address it at some point. Might as well address it now. Yeah, it's not even connected to anything. Yeesh. What a dumb way they ran that too, right? Here we got the frame. They ran all these hoses. You would think they would kind of run this stuff up through there, but maybe this is because it's an add-on, that plow setup in the front. Probably wasn't there. Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do about this stuff. All right, quit my crying. Let's get that cut out of the way and start looking into what we need to do. Okay, got like a factory release. We could have instead of cutting that. No, that was somebody else already cut it. This was a regular tie wrap. Yeah. So we are not the first to be here. Story of my life, right? Let's I don't know if there's. I figure there's probably a bolt right inside here. We can get this bracket off because we got to get to these pipes and figure out even if there is even any kind of good left to them at all anywhere. Wonder if we can maybe replace them all with like heater hose. Figure at some point they got to go back to rubber hose, right? Yeah, I can see one end. Yeah, I see one end here, and then the other one goes somewhere back. Goes up. Yeah, it goes up into that. Looks like that hose right there. Keep digging. That looks like a regular tie wrap too, right? Yeah. Let me get you back in the stand. We have enough shaky cam as it is, right? Wait, I'll make it worse. What if these other lines are? What this one is? We kind of expected that. Alright, so I'm gonna let it finish dripping. I'm gonna take a little bit of time. I'm gonna go see what's holding this, what's left of this plate, this little ridge right here, which I figure is probably gonna be right in the center of this clip. We'll get this out and see if we can get this down. So believe it or not, that plastic section is a nut. And the bolt head is up there and it goes through the frame. Getting to that's gonna kind of suck. I don't know what the, yeah, it's right there. I got my finger on it. Feels like a 11 millimeter, 12 millimeter, something around those. I don't know. Should we just cut that off right there? Beat on it. I don't think there's too much holding that plastic together. I don't want to get the camera wet, but you can see right up inside there. You can see just the base of the threads right there. Let me grab some water pump pliers on there. See if I can just spin the whole bracket around. Yeah, it's a 10 millimeter up top. I put a wrench on it, but forget it. It's not happening. I kind of wonder if we could, yeah, do something like that. Maybe spin it off like it's a nut. I wouldn't mind trying to save that plastic holder, you know, even if we put like a set screw or something, not a self-tapping screw through it. Get all this out of here. There we go. Still have to cut off whatever's on the bottom of that yet, you know. You didn't destroy that piece of plastic. Get out of there. All right, so now we can see the nut. Let me take a wire wheel. Clean these threads out the best we can, just with just a slight chance we get that. If not, we'll just cut it. The problem is, looking up above, that bolt's that long. There's not enough room for it to come out to change it. But let's give it a shot, see what happens. Any chance? The top is a 10 millimeter. That don't look like a 10. That looks like a, let's try an 11. 12? 12 millimeter. Let's go see how that. I don't think I upset his stomach a little. probably just gonna snap. That's right. Now let's turn it up top. We need a wrench on the upper side of things. The bucket's getting like 2% of everything. I'm gonna walk away, let that piss for a while. It's really coming down everywhere. That's more like it. Let that gallon piss out. Can't be that much in there. It's half gallon on the floor already. Hand on the wrench. Yeah, I don't think heat's gonna get it for us neither. Because I think we're just gonna, I don't want to cook all this stuff, you know. If the bolt breaks, the bolt breaks. Like I said, worst case scenario, we just kind of move over and do like a big self tap or tap into the aluminum frame and encapsulate it again. Let's go ahead and take it in an air chisel, see if we can split the nut and peel it off the bolt. Problem is, it's so flexible. If it was fixed and hard, you would have some hit off of. I think we got it. Got the bolt anyway. Let's go give that a couple of. It's not welded to it, is it? I don't think it's supposed to be welded to it. We'll go get some kind of pry bar up inside there. Yeah, I think that's all welded together. Yes, it is. Huh. All right, I'm gonna undo some hose clamps on 4 corners, see if I can get this manifold down out of here, and see what we need to do to, I don't know, maybe make a new one. Not sure yet. They welded it. Why would you do that? Check this funky tool out. There you go. You take her and in your hand, there's a cable running down to your hand with a pair of pliers. Squeezes those little clamps. Wheel it out of your way, whichever way you want to go. Let's go up. So all 3 of these pipes are tied together. And you can release it. Got a little lever on the bottom. There you go. That's one side of it. It does that. And here's the other side of it. Just a pair of pliers. And then it's got a release on it. Let's go with the cable. It came in a kit that a friend subscriber sent to me a while ago. Been meaning to use it. That ought to make life a little easier to get those other ones. Especially when you can't get like pliers, so you can't get yourself up in there. Yeah. That was easy. So we just got to make one of those. That's all. Simple. Well, I wouldn't say any of it is salvageable. I was thinking like maybe we can cut back and use some of the flanges, but pretty much the whole thing is pretty rusty. Let's see what diameter the pipe is. What do we got? A couple. It's a good spot to get it. Yeah. Right about 1 inch in diameter. I wonder if there's something like we can go to Home Depot and just try to get some conduit maybe? I'm trying to think of what's got that diameter to it. Let's go look at my stash first actually. See if I have anything. Plus we gotta try to figure out how to make like a little ferrule on the end of it to keep the hose from popping off. I don't know how much pressure's in there. What, 10 psi maybe? Yeah, let's go visit the land of never throw anything away just in case. That's gonna be too small. That's like 3/4 maybe. What's that? Yeah. Copper. That's also 3/4. That's still gonna be. Yeah. Some on the floor too. I was thinking maybe like a galvanized. We gotta have a fairly thin wall though, because we gotta be able to bend it and try and flare the end somehow. What's that one back there? I think that's too big. Yeah, that's too big. That's like 1 1/4. We could always just run, if we have to, like maybe large heater hose and get rid of the pipe altogether. My only guess is they went with the pipe part of things to keep the undercarriage maybe a little safe from like rubbing up against something and getting pierced. Couple back there. Actually, decent. What's that? Let's go pull that out. Kind of thin. I think it's aluminum too. Yeah, that's aluminum. So we want like that. But we want, yeah, maybe good, but I think that's going to be it's a little too thin. It's like 22 gauge, 20 gauge. That whole pipe probably weighs 3 ounces. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit more shopping, and maybe I got to make a run to Home Depot anyway. I got to return some stuff, so maybe I'll go shopping in there. What about that color right there? Did we look at that one yet? The problem is, I think they're all like, it's going by the ID is 1 inch. And then you get any more meat on it, it goes external. Yeah, so that's like 1.125. It's like 1 1/8. I don't think we can squeeze the rubber hoses over it. We might even find, what is that? What's that? That's like 1.05. Is that like a handlebar? That's a piece of a gym equipment. Alright, so far, there's a piece of steel pipe right there that we can use, but I think I'm going to go to Home Depot because we need a decent amount of it. We probably need 8 feet or so, plus if I screw it up I need 12. What about, no, that's going to be too heavy. That's, yeah, it's like 1 1/8 also. Alright, after much digging, this is what I've been able to scrounge up. A whole bunch of different kinds of like pipes there. You know, close enough I would think that we can get to work. Some thin wall Galvy conduit is, I kind of like it because the fact that it's Galvy, but I don't know about bending it. Thin wall stuff kind of kinks when it bends. There is like a pull-up handlebar from a old gym set, which is got a decent thickness to it. That might work fairly well for at least one of them. And I don't know what else I have. Maybe this one has a thick wall. And we got some copper and some of this and some of that. Let's try maybe some thick wall stuff because it'll last longer. You know, it just has much longer time to go corrode through it. I got a couple different benders. This is one I made a long time ago, kind of adjustable with a bottle jack underneath it, and then you can move stuff in and out as far as the center die and all. So maybe we'll go play with that, see if we can get some curves on it. The problem is we're not going to be able to get, I know we're not going to be able to get that one, but let's go see what we get. Let's go try to make the one with the least sharpest bends first. This already has a bend in it, so we'll steal that one. Kind of looks like a good angle. And then we need to make it right about here. Go that way and that way. Let's go get it pressed up in the machine. I'm going to cut this little tab off first. Well, let's give it a whirl and double check on what we are making. So that handle on the end is already facing like that, and we want to make a bend like a that. Let's kick it a little more. So there's two ways this can work. One is you can just pump the hydraulic cylinder up, but then you got a handle on here. You could roll it back and forth too, depending on what it is. I made this quite a few years ago. Let's go see what happens. I don't think it's going to kink because it's thicker. Usually the thinner stuff is what has an issue. So we'll give her a little. I don't have to clamp down either, so she's not wanting to roll. Let's just go for it. And how far do we have to go? We have to go till we get that angle. Making out. The other problem is too is that the when you crush down on it, it fattens it out. Sometimes you can pack them with sand. Let's go check it out, see what it looks like. The other part is that I don't have any sand here. And I should put a dent in it. I think we made that part of it, but it's a little on the crunchy side. And then the next one will be a fairly steep one to do. Let me go get set up on that one. Maybe we'll try putting a little bit of heat on it and making a bend. Go see how close we are. Kinked more than I wanted it to, but such is life, right? A little more of an angle it seems to need to go. I'm gonna try not concentrating right here though, kind of kick it maybe right there. Kind of made a mistake when I first started. I shouldn't have heated the center. I should have just stuck with the back. there. Yep, close enough. All right, I'm gonna let that cool down here with a wire wheel. I'm going to take a hammer and kind of beat on the edges a little bit to kind of squish it, make it a little bit more round. So here's the hose that would normally go on that. Should work out pretty good, but generally they have like a little bit of a taper or a feathered edge going out, and it allows it so that, you know, you have a hose clamp right here with the hose. So it doesn't want to just slip off the end of it under pressure. So let's try to make a little bit of a flare on that. My guess is maybe we'll try heating it up. And I got this. Tap it down a little bit and see if we can just get a little bit of a bubble on the end of that to help it. If not, it should work out fine, but I just want to try it, see if it'll work. I think the other one we're going to go try using copper. See how we make out with soldering some copper pipe together. All right, let's go make some smoke. Yeah, it's got a little bit on. I don't want to go too crazy. There's something for it to bite on. Good, we'll leave it like that. I don't know if it shows up in the camera, but it's got a little bit of a kick to it. Well, it's one of three done. The second one should be a little bit trickier because we got that sharper bend up here. It almost does like a 90 with this is about a 70 degree right here. Let's try making one out of copper just for shits and giggles, and we'll see which one kind of holds up better over time. Just to play around and work on our craftsmanship of things. Don't look at that. Nothing to see there. Last piece. Should be able to just kind of make it. Let me get the cutter on there. That's it. So it should be something like that. I'm not quite sure on the left-hand side there. That one's not connected anymore, you know, what direction it was facing. But maybe we can solder up a bunch of these joints and then leave that one to last. We'll mark it with a Sharpie. And this one, again, is on a 90, and the one behind it is leaning back a little. If that's a problem, maybe we'll try heating it up and getting a little out of it. Copper kind of bends, you know, much easier than steel. So let's go see. So I soldered up right there, left that open. This is all soldered tight, left that open. I figure what we'll do is we'll install it and we'll index them where the hoses kind of want to let them lay. Possibly we could heat them up down there if there's not a bunch of hoses around it. Maybe we'll just solder those two in place. If not, we'll take a Sharpie and we'll mark their location and take it back out. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We're going to have to do it outside the car though. Machine. Let's go put a couple of witness marks where the joints go. That one's already done, and then we got one back here. We got to get this one. Definitely has a bunch of hoses around it. So now I know where they'll be located, and I can take them out, do the same thing on the bench, and we'll put it back up in there. I might put a little bit of a bend right here, maybe not. Let's see if we can clean up what's left of that bolt there so we can get a nut on it. It's a little chewed up, but I think we got it. There we go. I went scrounging around. I found a couple of little plastic jackets. There was one that was up there, but the bottom one was kind of destroyed, I think. One of them was. But I have. That's the original one. There's that one. I'll leave that one on top. But then I found another. Look at that. So we can see how much it wedge them up there. Let's I got the lines getting painted. Lines are painted, waiting for them to dry. We've got to do that little one yet. We've got to bend up that. Might be able to bend that one by hand. Yeah, well, you want to come in that far. Just got to keep it from kinking, you know. Something like that. We gotta go more. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stick a socket in the vise. We'll bend it around a socket. It's just a spark plug socket. It's got the flange on the end of it, so it kind of helps hold it. And sometimes I find you just go on them, you can kind of influence them around a socket without getting the kink so much. And now I think we have to go. Is that one? We got to go back about 1.5 inches and do another. To the point where it's almost straight. Leans in a little. That looks like it. I'm going to go chase the rest of the line like that. And that one we might leave just to be independent. Well, she may not be pretty, but she's got some good hips. Got one more hose clamp to get. I got to get it from up above when I let the car down. But it's pretty much where they sat before. I've got the one clamp on it. I still have to tuck all these hydraulic lines up for the front end, but that's after we're we got a good to go signal, you know what I mean? And I've got some bolts we got to put up through there that I cut with some kind of clamp, and possibly to grab them here a little bit better. But let's go throw that last clamp on. All right, a var. Let her down, put some put some water in it, and fire it up and see where, hopefully it doesn't piss out anywhere else, but you know. what's your over under? I'm gonna give us a more than positive. We'll call it 65%. It's not pissing out of somewhere else. Or out of the, or out of this. Hey, see what we make out this time around. A little over a gallon of water. Hopefully we can get to the point where at least we can start it up. Without pissing out. Yeah, we shouldn't spill it because then you're not going to know where you got a leak, right? Putting hot water in it. The other part too is I want to kind of flush it anyhow so that the get all that rust and crap out of the system. I like to do a flush on it, so if it does hold, we'll let it run for a while. And I think this has an electric fan on it. Let me see if that works. Getting close. There's probably about a gallon right now. Let's go top it off. I'll take a peek underneath it. My worst fear is that it was, you know, that it just had water in it, it froze, and would have cracked the block or something, so that's why, again, I'm still trying to get it to at least run and cycle at temperature. How's my calibration? Off about a pint. I'm going to give it a little bit more, top it off, and we'll pop it up on the lift. Take a quick look. Yeah, got a little too cocky. Got drippage right there. Anywhere else? And that is, looks like it's coming from maybe right around the top of that hose right there. Yeah, just around the hose right there. Yeah, I may get another clamp. I may try to put 2 of them on there. I think what's going on too, like inside this hose, I tried to clean them out, but there's a little bit of rust on the sidewall, and that might be interfering with it. So I'll move this one up a little bit. Maybe I'll put another one lower. And double it her up. I think that's got it. Let's go give her some heat. Fire it up. Fire in the hole. I think everything's still hooked up. Oh, you know what? I gotta turn the main power on. There we go. Glow her for a second or two. Is that not enough? Better warm up. Keep that clutch get quieter too. I'm gonna let it run for a few minutes, let it get up to temp. I'll leave the cap off for now. Let's put it up in the air. I'm gonna let it down, I'm gonna back it out, I'm gonna let it run, get up to temperature, see if that fan comes on. I don't know if it's got a temp gauge or not. Did you notice one? While I was doing this thing outside, let me take a moment to clean up every time. So I have a clean bench, and pretty much what it turns into. Little spot on the other side. That might be diesel. Probably need to burp the system. Shall we? Circulating, there's that rusty crap thing I was talking about though. Hot enough where you wouldn't want to leave your finger in there. Problem is, it's only like 19 degrees out. So, alright, let's run it back in. Yeah, not getting nothing. Sitting on sheet metal. I think I just ripped my pants. Caught it on that. You can't see anything, can you? Well guys, I think that worked out pretty good for this round. We got pretty much the assessment of it completed, well, except for brakes. But we know biggest thing is that it didn't have a frozen engine. It cracked something, and water was pissing out around the head, or cracking a block or anything like that. So we got it cleaned. We got the charging system working. We got the cooling system repaired, not flushed yet. We got to do that a couple more times, running the coolant through it. It's gonna be parked inside, so I'm not worried about it freezing, but it's getting there pretty good. I'm glad. Again, this is gonna be a powerhouse, but it's not gonna have any kind of speed to it. It's just not what it's meant for. Then they call them a Toolcat is the name of them. Oh, see what does and doesn't work. Ooh, high and low, fancy. It's got a stereo in it. Up on there, I hit the power the other day. It lit up. Oh, the key's not on. So yeah, we got the fan is working. I guess it has like dash heat and stuff. We're not getting any heat coming out of there though. My guess is that we probably have some air trapped up in there because that's going to be the highest point. Maybe there's a bleeder or something on it we can go hit, but I'm not going to bother with that until we get it purged a couple times with water. Drain the water out, fill it back up, drain it, fill it back up. Got a tire that's going flat in the backside. Seems like every machine has that issue. And brakes we got to get into all the way around, emergency brake, get that stuff working. I believe the windshield kicks out. I don't know how far. It's got handles on it. I know when we closed it when we got it, but it was only open about an inch or two. I don't know how far that flips up. I don't know if that wiper assembly works. We have cab lights up above to go look into. There's some wiring hanging from the dash and like a toggle switch missing. The toggle switch was in a box. That's yeah, that wire behind the key down there, and I think it goes probably up in there. So getting there. It is not being as much of a shitbox as it once was. Got a fuel leak right there, a little bit dripping probably on the fuel line. I have new fuel filters for it, oil filters for it, oil. We'll change all that once we get everything kind of finalized. Back of the bed, it's a little on the crunchy side. Still some remnants, some blue bag remnants in the back, but that's something to be done later. We take the gate off, straighten that out, and beat some metal back together. But my goal is to get it so it's functional and running and driving and pushing some material around. Which hopefully maybe we'll get some snow, and the next time we get back together, we can put the plow blade on it and see what it can do. But for now, guys, I think we're gonna go call it. I'm happy with how far we got on this one. Haven't found anything catastrophic, I should say. No exploded, like I said, bad engine, or we still have to get into the drive shafts beat on the back when the yoke is wasted. We haven't tested the four-wheel drive yet to see if that works. Someone made a comment on the last video that I know it's automatic. It'll sense going in and out of like if it needs four-wheel drive, it'll turn the front axle on if it notices slipping. He had mentioned putting a toggle switch on the power going down to the differential and just making it so you can make it to a four-wheel drive when you want to. That's probably a good idea. We'll probably chase doing that also after we make sure it works. But that's for another video, guys. On this one, we're gonna go call it. I want to thank y'all for hanging out, and see you soon. Later.